Talks About Everything.
Welcome to another episode of Noah Talks About Everything. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I found myself passionately talking to my wife about yesterday, and it is, well, I'll just get into it without really giving it a topic title, I guess. I titled it, what did I title it? COVID, Hate Finds a Way. So, let's start with one of the things that I thought. Well, first of all, I hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody's staying healthy. I think that it's very reasonable to take this disease seriously. I saw a lot of people sort of, I'm calling them the hystericals or something like that, because there are a lot of people posting about, how bad the hysteria is, and shaming people for hysteria, and like panic buying. And I think there's some legitimacy to the panic buying. The toilet paper makes no sense. I still don't understand it. But and there's legitimacy to the fundamental argument behind that kind of stuff against hysteria and panic buying. Of course, those aren't good things, so we want to identify them, and we want to try to not panic buy and try to not give in to hysteria. Uh, but there's the other side of this is what if you identify something as hysteria and it's not hysteria, or not entirely hysteria? What if there are in trying to shut down supposed hysteria, you actually ignore things that are very important and dangerous? And I think that's, in my opinion, what's gone on. And now I'm saying that as somebody that has no access to like mainstream scientists, credentialed scientists uh, that are working are the top people working on this issue. And the top people with the best information. I don't know those people, so I'm just putting together what I see from all these different information sources and trying to figure out what is the truth about this thing. My wife's Chinese, so I hear about what her family's going through, and I've seen or I've read about what's going on in Italy, just briefly. But I think this disease is something to be really careful about. Apparently, it's mutated a couple times, or rather, it's mutated at least one time, and so there's two strains. At least as far as I know, there are two strains, and that's one of the things that scientists are concerned about, is the potential for it to mutate again and what that might look like. As far as I know, there's not really any way to predict what a mutation would be. So when a disease like this seems to be extremely contagious and spreading rapidly like wildfire throughout the world, as much as people have tried to contain it, they can't. It's that the containment is failing in a lot of places. China does seem to be getting better now. That's what I'm hearing. People quarantined for a while, and now I think people are starting to get out to work again. And the cases, the additional new cases has dropped way down. And I think my wife may have even said that they're not getting any new cases anymore. So that would be awesome news. I need to ask her that again. I don't know if that's just a dream I had last night or something. But anyway, I want to start with that just to emphasize that I think this is a really significant issue. I think people are I don't think the hysteria is hysteria. I think people are taking it rightly. They are taking it seriously, rightly, and rightly so. So, what I on this note, one of the things there's is I found that I became kind of nauseated from hearing the word corona so freaking much, and coronavirus and corona, everything everywhere, including in like this room, which is isolated from everything. I just feel like corona is just bombarding my head. I didn't want to hear anything more about corona. And then I saw a video the other day which made me wish I was just still hearing about corona. So that the coronavirus took over everything, and in one way, I didn't like that because it felt just overwhelming and nauseating. I made a joke in my newsletter that the coronavirus, the new mutation, was that it was embedded into language, and you could experience symptoms of coronavirus simply by hearing the word. So um, I thought I would not. I wanted to hear anything else other than coronavirus, but then I watched Trump giving new information about like the what's currently unfolding with the coronavirus, and you know, inevitably, well, I wish I didn't use the word inevitably. One of the media members asked a question to Trump about his reference to the coronavirus as a Chinese virus or something along those lines of expressing that it came from China and potentially there's some fault there. And it's just like it's sad because the media like is never gonna stop with this stuff, and it's like, and then the thing that disappointed me even more is that I saw a clip from Trevor Noah, who was a comedian that I had a lot of respect for, and I saw him in London. I went and saw one of his performances in London, and that was before he took over the Daily Show, and I just thought he was sharp, he was smart, he had awesome accents, he was funny, he was clever, and he was bold in his own way to push the envelope in comedy in what he was doing. And I thought it was so cool that he took over the Daily Show. I thought it was a great pick on behalf of Jon Stewart or whoever it was that really made that decision to have him take over. And then when he took over, I just thought, I mean, I've seen some decent things come from him, but I thought he basically became a shill, I guess. I mean, not entirely perhaps, but I just, most of what I see coming from him, it seemed like there was a fundamental shift from what he was doing to like pre Daily Show takeover and post Daily Show. I think that the Daily Show was like such a legacy and such a big scale thing for him to come into, like to live up to the legacy of Jon Stewart and what Jon Stewart had done. I don't necessarily agree with everything Jon Stewart says, but Jon Stewart's a freaking legend and he was amazing. And for so to come in and take over after somebody like that, as far as I'm concerned, I think Jon Stewart is one of the greatest talk show hosts or comedy show hosts ever. Um, it's just he's like one of a kind and just amazing in so many ways. Like I said, I don't agree with everything he said, he did or said. I think sometimes he was biased in his own way or whatever, but we all are. I do think he tried to be a good person in the world and worked hard to do it. Um, but I think Trevor Noah, when he took over the Daily Show, his focus, I think he was intimidated by that kind of audience and that scale of what he was coming into and the history there. And I think he fundamentally changed in terms of how he was presenting himself and what he was trying to do. I think he kind of gave in to trying to be what he thought other people would want him to be, rather than just continuing to put out what he is and let the Daily Show succeed or fail and not worry about that, but be himself. And that's not easy to do. So I'm not trying to bash him for that. Like I don't know that I would be able to hold up to that. Probably wouldn't. So I just think that's what happened. So that said, it's just that I found it when I stumbled into a video, a Trevor Noah video talking about this particular instance of a reporter talking to Trump, how the reporter made it about race. Instead of showing that the reporter is what made it about race, Trevor Noah says Trump is finding a way to make it about race. And I just feel like they are freaking like rabid hyenas, ready every time Trump says anything even remotely like anything that you can pick it apart and find an angle or a way to say that it's racist. People are ready to do it. And this media member, I just wish somebody would start like somebody on the left would start calling this stuff out. It's like the media member phrased the question to call out, to make it about race, and to the media member is what proposed it as a racist thing. And so they're trying to identify something about the way Trump spoke that means he's racist. And now he said something, his racism is even polluting the coronavirus. And it's like, you know, for the record, from what I understand, most Chinese people like Trump. Like most people like Trump. Most Chinese people like Trump more than they liked Obama. So if Trump was racist against Chinese people, I mean, why would that be the case? Why would Chinese people like Trump? It doesn't make any sense. My wife's Chinese. She likes. I would say she probably likes Trump. So I mean, of course, people can be confused or whatever. So people that don't believe what I'm saying, they always find a way to just ignore it, or they have a very quick word that they can go to or a phrase they can go to that means they don't have to take into account what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not trying to change anybody's opinion, but like, I just wish, can't we just talk about it, like really be honest about this stuff? Really, you know? Why, if the media member makes it about race and then Trump answers, he has to talk about it. It's not, he's not making it about race. It was the media member making it about race. And then how does somebody so intelligent and, and successful like Trevor Noah, how does he, miss that? I mean, I can't believe that he's missing that. I don't, I mean, unless he's got like partisan goggles on that really make it impossible for him to see what he's doing, it just seems intentional to me. I feel like he must know subconsciously, at least at a minimum, but I think he knows consciously. I saw another video from him recently, but I won't dive. I don't want to go on Trevor Noah bashing monologue. I want to get away from the bashing. Like I do believe that Trump's trying to handle this situation. And it's just sad to me that when we've gone through a tragedy like this, and this is something that everybody can feel. Everybody can feel what's going on, and there's different thoughts that you go through in a situation like this. What if it were to get much worse, or whatever? That at least this could be something that brings us together in terms of understanding we're all human and we all have the same fears and the same basic needs, and that it's a system of all of us together. That I think that's maybe one of the biggest fundamental things. We have people that are trying to help each other out across different industries, and I've seen a post that says this is a time where you see that the musicians, celebrities, the actors, and the sports players aren't as important as the truck drivers and the medical workers, and I think that while I'm a musician and there's a part of my ego that's like, come on, I'm valuable. Then the truth is, though, if we didn't have truck drivers that were willing to go out and deliver the food and get it across, what would we do? Genuinely, if truck drivers stopped delivering food to the grocery stores because they're too afraid to go outside, what would we do for food? Like the grocery stores would run out of food quick. What would we do if it wasn't for these medical workers that will risk their own well-being to take care of sick people in times like this? So why, when we're going through that experience, it's just sad to me that it looks like I've been quarantining for 3 to 4 days, something like that, and within such a short time frame of this experience starting and the effects of the coronavirus really hitting the United States on a wide scale, already the media is wanting to go back to Trump bashing and Trump hating. And that's why I titled it COVID Hate Finds a Way, a play off of the famous Jurassic Park line, life finds a way, But apparently hate finds a way too. It's like the moment that people can breathe again, I think for a minute everybody's freaking out, like trying to make sure everything's in order, figuring out what they're going to do, trying to read and understand information as much as possible to make an informed decision about how they're going to proceed with their life. And then once that dust is sort of settled, now they're back to Trump bashing, and it's like he says this disease is from China. It's a Chinese virus. That means he's racist. And that's the question the person asked. Do you think that means it's racist if you're calling it a Chinese virus? I think that's what it was. And then Trump is saying no, no. And then Trevor Noah is saying only Trump could make this about race. And it's not Trump that made it about race. It's ridiculous. It's if that is sleight of hand in like a conversation, if that's like metaphorical sleight of hand, that is some of the worst sleight of hand. It's done in broad daylight in slow motion. I don't know how anybody believes it, and that's why I think that ultimately there are a lot of people that just hate Trump or that hate Republicans and just want to win and believe in their side and are tired of trusting and experiencing any kind of pain that goes along with trusting people that they disagree with. So they want to just identify these are the evil people. They're tired. You're tired of not knowing what's going to happen in the future. You want security. You want safety, right? But newsflash, life is not that, people. You don't get that. You don't get that with anything. Anybody that's promising you that you can be safe and you don't have to ever have worries, they are lying to you. Nobody can promise that. Nobody expected this virus. Nobody expects the coronavirus. It develops. People are still making discoveries. The world is not known. Not everything is known. We're not God. Like if we somehow morphed into God, then maybe an omnipotent God, then maybe we could say, okay, yeah, we've got total control. Nothing will happen to you, right? But anybody that's promising you that, not saying that that's not their intention, but they cannot know that. And I think on a subconscious level or a conscious level, they know that they're lying to you. Maybe there's some that really, really believe it and don't think, and then they're not lying to you, but they're just misguided. You can't promise that. I think this disease should be a perfect example of that. Nobody expected that this would happen. It happens. Like, I guess you could say nobody knew this would happen. I think it was only a matter of time before diseases are always evolving, just like people or species or anything. Biology evolves, and so bacteria evolves, viruses evolve. If you stretch, it's a matter of time. If you stretch it out over millennia, there are going to be instances where a new disease emerges, whether it evolves or maybe it's buried in some ice that's melting or something. But it's just sad to me that in a situation like this, people still want to make it about race and accuse Trump for being racist over this. The reality is this disease originated in Wuhan, and what we don't know and what nobody knows and what China may not even know is really exactly how this got started. And for all we know, it is negligence on the part of the Chinese. We don't know what it is. Or it's just an accident, or the disease was brought in. Maybe it's a very understandable accident. Maybe it's a biological occurrence that was unavoidable. Maybe a tourist brought it in. That's what some of the Chinese are saying. That's what I hear that some of the Chinese believe it is that 4 members of the American military were actually the ones that brought it in, apparently unknowingly, is what I'm hearing from my wife from Chinese sources. So I think there are people on all different sides. Like, it's not like the Chinese are purely noble or the United States is purely noble, or it's like there are millions. Well, to be more exact, there are billions, like 7 billion or 8 billion perspectives in the world, human perspectives. And I don't think Trump is being racist, calling it a Chinese disease. He may have been too forthright, if that's actually the words he used, which I don't know. If he called it a Chinese disease, that's too forthright because he doesn't know. But that's not racist. And it could be that he just misspoke. there's always that possibility. People misspeak. Trump misspeaks all the time. You can look at YouTube videos that demonstrate how much he misspeaks or how much he has misspoken. Just like any president, you can look at these people are people. They don't speak flawlessly. I saw a funny Trump video the other day where he's says words just not correctly in very strange ways, and somebody compiled all this together and then put a video out of it, and they were using it as propaganda to try to show that Trump's an idiot or something like that. And it's like, you can compile that with anybody. You try to speak in front of people publicly for years and never say something ridiculous. If you do that, if your job requires you to speak publicly in front of people, and that those speeches are recorded, anybody that does that, you're going to have somebody that can compile a video to make you look ridiculous. So, yeah, I don't have any problem with people thinking Trump is a bad president or whatever. If you have your perspective on Trump, you're welcome to have your perspective. But I think a lot of what we see is very clearly, I think there's a reason that it's called Trump derangement syndrome, and ironically, the Daily Show has the same acronym. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't think Trump is anywhere as bad as people make him out to be. But I do think that the right, the Republican side, the conservative side of things, I think undersells the damage of Trump's rhetoric. I think the way that he speaks, he's very casual and careless with how he speaks, and maybe kind of brutish or just rough in how he speaks. And I think that there's no question that has done damage to our discourse as a country. And yeah, so I would be happier if we had a different Republican candidate this time around. But I think the Democrats have to stop hating like crazy and understand and be honest about that Trump is not some just evil dude, that there's good and bad about him, and we need to acknowledge the good about him, and then we can move forward, hopefully towards something better. But I don't know, man. The state of politics, the landscape of politics is so freaking crazy, and it's just like having a legitimate, rational conversation with somebody is rare. So, all right, just wanted to say something on that. So there's about a little bit past 20 minutes, so that'll be it. I'm doing live streams on my Facebook and on my other YouTube channel, music live streams. So if you like music and you're interested in checking out my music, join me at one of my live streams. I'm going to be doing it every day and every night, as long as we're in this quarantine. And stay safe, stay healthy. I recommend taking it seriously. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good day. See you in the next video.